right, let's get moving with our program today. And it is now 29 minutes past 9 Central African time. So what are we talking about? We're talking about fintech. It's the most powerful thing that fintech can allow the customers to educate themselves. It is a formalized financial education that plays a crucial role in a fintech business. But customers that trust and repeatedly use a new product or service, such as digital store of money, go through a natural learning process and are then more comfortable being exposed to more sophisticated products. You see, knowledge is power. When you empower someone, you give them the tools to grow a platform, to grow their money, to grow their language, and grow a certain community. Now we're going to share more light on fintech's transformative potential with Mukuru CEO Andy Jury. Andy, welcome to Tech Africa.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for chatting to us today. It's been a while. How is 2024 treating you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Like everybody else, we face a couple of headwinds and lots of tailwinds, and thankfully the tailwinds at the moment outweigh the headwinds. So life is pretty good. There's always lots of opportunity ahead of us.
I want to find out, how can financial service companies in South Africa empower their customers with platforms to educate themselves beyond just providing formula financial education programs?
Sure. So, just for your listeners who aren't aware of what Mukuru does, we really help people at the intersection of the informal and formal financial services ecosystem take their first steps towards formal financial inclusion, so using digital financial instruments for the first time. And so this topic is really super critical to our continued ability to grow our customer base. And really what we try and do with every product, channel, customer engagement we design is to try and put ourselves in the shoes of the customers and think, what is the context they're going to be coming to this from? How do we make sure that something is easy to understand, digestible, and usable? And so I suppose the construct of education in terms of how you then take somebody on a journey, make them feel empowered so that they understand and use the product more frequently because they trust it, is critical to the sort of ongoing growth and success of our business. So we try to think about access, trust in parallel with education. How are we going to make it very, very easy to use? How are we going to show people those proof points that they then learn and feel and digest for themselves that this is a product that they can use? And so, one of the, I suppose, key things about financial inclusion is getting somebody to store their money digitally and then use digital types of money to transact. And many of our competitors or people will try and get somebody to use a wallet or a bank account as the first move. We tend to think that that's quite a complex first move, and so what we want to do is to just get people to use our products, and so they can send money across borders, engaging with one of our access points, and they can still pay for it in physical cash, which is why we use those financial kiosks at many of the retailers. And if you get somebody to use a product, they teach themselves, and that's the most powerful form of education. As you said in your intro, knowledge is power, and so everything that we're doing is to essentially try and get to that point where customers feel comfortable using the product themselves, and then they speed up the sort of utilization and they increase the type of sophistication of the products that they use.
All right. And Mukuru's been in the business for some time. How has the business evolved?
Yeah, so we are celebrating our 20th year in existence this year. So
20 years 21. Is a big deal.
It's a long old period of time. We don't quite have the keys to the door yet, but I suppose it's a validation of the fact that we've been able to learn and grow with our customers over time. And so we started out 20 years ago as a voucher for product business. You could buy fuel in London that was delivered in Zimbabwe, and then it sort of grew from there. We grew into a cross-border remittance business over time, built our own infrastructure, focused on intra-African flows, and then I suppose realized that we built all the capabilities that we could build a broader financial services platform. And so today, Southern Africa is our heartland. South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Malawi are our biggest markets. We've served 16 million customers over that time, and we try to provide the capabilities such that our customer base can send, store, and spend. So how do they, send money between themselves? How do they store money digitally? And how do we then enable them to use that hard-earned money for a variety of uses, whether it is buying groceries at a grocery store, whether it's paying for an insurance premium, whether it's paying school fees, etc. We've built the capabilities that we think bridge the cash and digital divide, which is super, super important for Africa, because 65 to 70% of Africans and transactions in Africa happen in this informal, over-the-counter, cash-to-cash world. So it's a massive opportunity if we can continue to keep driving in this direction.
Mm. So then I just want to find out from you, Andy, how do successful fintechs balance the need for a base layer of formal education versus allowing customers to learn organically through product usage, as you said earlier on, that when people use the product, they get to learn about it?
Yeah, I don't think there's any magic wand or silver bullet that allows people to find that balancing act. You learn by doing, and so we love to put something out there, and get it into the live environment and let our customers give us feedback. And so sometimes we'll build a education strategy or a piece of formal education that we think is going to be amazing, but our customers can't engage with it. But they give us feedback very, very quickly. And so as long as you have those feedback loops, you can learn and adapt things. And I think it all comes back to trying to understand your customer. So it's almost this sort of education process the businesses need to go through in reverse before they can design products that customers potentially really value, in terms of how do they consume information, what necessarily do they understand about this product? Is it going to be something that's simple or complicated or intimidating, or something that they trust inherently? And so as long as you have the full capability set, it's almost like having the entire bag of golf clubs, and then you choose which one you're going to play depending on the environment that you face. Most often you can adapt your strategies as you go and learn. But the most important is things that are consumable. And so we need to think about the channel that people are using. Are they, the type of phone that they have, their level of education, the language that you communicate in. Are you able to use language? Do you have to use images that people understand? And so if you design an amazing product that can only be consumed on an iPhone 14 via an app, and everybody that your customers are, potential customer base all have 2G phones and they only use USSD, then it passes them by. So those, important characteristics are very important in determining how you engage with customers, and also then, I suppose, the channels that you use to provide the education to.
My guest this morning, I'm talking to Andy Jury, who is Mukuru CEO, and we're just talking about just empowering people that actually make the business what it is. Why is it important for businesses to do that? And Mukuru is chipping in this morning, talking about how they are at the forefront of that. I just want to now look at the strategies that Mukuru employed to overcome customer inertia and build trust when introducing new products and services that require behavioral changes. You see now, those are big words.
Those are very big words. Eh?
I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, man. Yeah, but let's simplify it. Let's simplify it for our listeners.
Super. So, really what we're talking about is how do you get people to use your product and services? How do you get them to understand it intrinsically and then feel comfortable doing so? And again, I think it goes back to, one, beginning with the end in mind, but understanding where your customers are. And at Mukuru, we talk about meeting them where they're at. And so a lot of customers in a money transfer world still operate in this environment where they use informal means. The Hiwala system, it's far bigger than formal money transfer systems, and so it's important, very, very important for us, because that's where the biggest opportunity is. But if you are let's say somebody wants to send money to Malawi, for example, and you live in Johannesburg, 10 to 1, you've got to take time off work, which means lost wages. You've got to pay for a taxi to get to Park Station, which means lost cash. You've got to then find someone who speaks Chichero, which is probably your mother tongue, to negotiate. You give them the money, it goes into a taxi, it probably gets hidden in a coffee tin or something. It disappears on a journey that takes 2 weeks, and it might get to the other side. So that's the environment in which our customers find themselves. It's you can see that the sort of shortcomings are pretty obvious in terms of communication, trust, speed, etc. But that's what people have used for a long period of time. And so when you then design a product, what we try and do is to make the changes between the world in which a customer lives and the one that we're drawing to them small, but incremental and continuous. And so we won't then say, hey, get a bank account and use our iPhone 14 app to send your money, because it's just it's too big a leap or too big a sort of journey from the context in which people find themselves. But if you make small changes and you say, we see that you're comfortable using your SSD because you buy airtime using that, use that capability ourselves. You can talk to somebody who speaks your mother tongue who will help you sign up. You can get all the benefits of a digital transaction because the money will be available on the other side instantaneously, and you can test it using 25 Rand or 50 Rand as opposed to the 1,000 Rand that you want to send. Then all of those things are validation points that make a potential customer feel like they've got this, they're in control of their ecosystem, they feel empowered, and then you use it once or twice, and then they feel empowered to take another leap forward. And it might be to buy an insurance product, or to use WhatsApp, which is a far better channel to engage with us on, or potentially to get a Mukuru card and store their money digitally. So it's about making those steps small such that it doesn't feel this big sort of inertia that people overcome, and then they build the speed and the utilization and comfort for themselves.
Okay. And for people that still believe that following instruction is the way to go, I'm sure that structure of how to acclimatize someone to use any type of product has evolved over the years. How have this type of this means of I don't call it education. I would call it maybe like crash course over how to use a particular platform. How has that evolved over the years?
Yeah, so we used to do it via a call center where we've got a contact center in Cape Town that I think speaks 34 languages, like the United Nations of Africa. And most of the engagement went through that. But we've learned over time that, good ideas don't keep office hours. So we've had to, provide a different range of channels. And so we used to provide pamphlets. These days we can send it to you on USSD. We can send you information on WhatsApp. You can use our app, which is probably the richest sort of customer engagement channel and helps you go through that step by step. But there's a variety of ways in which people can access us depending on the language they speak, how they like getting the information, whether it's visual or whether they like being told, or whether they need somebody to help them get through that. And so we have somewhere between 7,500 and 10,000 roaming field ambassadors who will come to our customers' place of work, their place of worship, their place of sporting activity, and help guide them through. And so quite often these are power users or power customers of ours who've been through these steps, who can then show and educate by doing the simplest way to sign up, get verified, and use our products.
Andy, thank you so much for talking to us today. I appreciate our conversations. They're always very transformative in the space of fintech, and I'm hoping that we'll do this again sometime this year when Mukuru is doing great things that we always look forward to hearing all about.
Likewise. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks very much to your listeners.
Yes, that's my guest. And he is Mukuru CEO, and his name is Andy Jury. We're done with that conversation now, 18 minutes before 10 o'clock Central Africa.